Welcome to Thank God You're Not My Child. Remember, it's a comedy podcast where I talk about whatever I want to. I promise I'll try not to be whiny, but this week, it's not really whiny. It's more like a story, just down to the what the fuck, people? You know, I just don't get it. So, when I was in high school, to go get you, I'm 54 and I graduated from Longview High School in 1989. And we're just going to leave it at that. I'll go into, yeah, I might have done more than 12 years of school. Maybe. I might have been that child not doing anything as a freshman. Maybe. But, we'll get into that another time. But I was really not a horrible kid. Uh, I say that when I had to go to high school 5 years. Okay. The whole gist of that, to even get started, is I didn't want to leave Oklahoma. That little town Krebs that I was in, I had this boyfriend I was in love with. I was 15. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm 54, still talk to him, love him with all of my heart, and his wife. So we'll just leave it at that. Really cool guy. But I didn't want to leave. So I sure in the fuck wasn't going to do my work. And guess who that hurt? Me. Me. When I straightened up, I had 5 total years of high school. And you know what? We're just going to skip on from that, okay? We don't need to talk about that anymore. But I was a really good kid. Went to school every day. I did like beer. Mom let me drink it at home. We're not going to get into that either, okay? Just stop judging people. Just stop it. Stop it. Especially don't judge my mama or my daddy. You know how you feel about that. You know how you feel about your mama and daddy? I still feel like that about my mom and daddy. Just saying. Anyway, let's get back to it. I, at 18, had no want to have any kids out of my body ever. When I was 15, I literally saw my niece come out of my older sister's vajayjay. And you're talking about my legs crossing? Woo! They crossed so freaking fast because this was the scariest thing I'd ever seen. And sure in the hell, if nothing goes in, nothing can come out. I'm no Mary with baby Jesus. So, well, I met my ex-husband. I was with him for 34 years. So we gave it a good try, 34 years. But I met him and he says the whole reason our son happened was because he was a stud. Let me tell you, picture Napoleon with brown curly hair and glasses with the FAA jacket, tall and thin, looks just like Napoleon. Yeah, my baby daddy. He's a dude, he's a geek. He's just a lovable geek. Might not be married to him anymore, but he's a good daddy to my kids. So thank he gave me 2 great kids. So, we're not going to. But I do not agree with him. I don't know what happened. I'm thinking God has a reason for my son because at 18, I never wanted to have kids. And at 18, in high school, I got pregnant with kid. For 24 hours, they told us it might be twins. It was, I could imagine 2 of my son. Hold on. I have no alcohol today. That would have been the time. I couldn't imagine having 2 of my son. I love you, Justin, because you're perfectly. Remember, my kids are perfectly Justin and perfectly Emily. But I didn't want them. And I remember laying, because I got pregnant my first time. Don't believe anything if you can't get pregnant your first time. It happens on the first time. He's 35 now, and he's a big burly guy, just like his dad. Anyway, I was pregnant. That's just what happens. I never thought of not having the baby because I laid down. I spread my legs. Nobody else made me do that. and this is my baby. We're going to grow up and take care of this shit, you know? Yes, I called it shit because when I was pregnant, that's what it was. Remember, I didn't want kids. Well, once I gave birth, I don't know if it was the pregnancy, falling in love with that baby that's inside you, the emotions of being in high school and being pregnant, of moving in with my ex, my baby daddy, because we were giving this a big go, and we did. It was, 60% was all the time great. Okay, maybe 80, but it doesn't take much to break stuff up. So we're not even going to get into that. But once I had that baby, once I had Justin, and I held him and bonded with him, I could have had a baby every other year. I say every other year because I just think it would be easier than every year. But I could have just had him until God said, hey, guess what, Donna? Your uterus is not well anymore. I think it's fallen out. No more babies for you. That's what I always expected would happen. But it didn't. I had to beg to have Emily. I had to work to have Emily. He when we started paying for stuff for my son, having more than 2 kids was kind of rough. So we had 2 glorious kids, and it's okay. I never wanted to be a mom when I grew up, and then once I became a mom, it was all I wanted to do. And probably why I started the daycare after a while. I couldn't have any more babies, but I could help people raise babies. And my kids were raised in this daycare most of their life. And my kids are wonderful with kids, both of them, because they've seen kids, kids are going to mess up. Kids are going to break their arms. They're going to mess up. They're going to say bad words. They're learning no different than us. So both of my kids are great with kids. She is born a teacher, and the people he deals with at his work are kind of like a bunch of kids. Not really, but they're kind of like me, kind of like we're all a little kiddish. So, but I didn't have any wants for my kids to grow up. You know what I wanted, what I needed down deep in my heart? Was my kids to not repeat, because high school was hard. Even once I straightened up, I got pregnant. And then I had so much to do in 1 year to graduate, having a new baby. And it was just, I just didn't want them to have to go through that. So it was praying, active in church, very honest about sex and all of this, because you know what? I had a baby in high school, and yes, it's doable. Okay? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if you don't have to do it, don't do it, because it's hard as fuck. It's hard as fuck. And so here I am, 54, and I look at these young moms that it's okay, girls, to say, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. It's okay. And now there's so much media that can lead you to, oh, your baby shouldn't have this before a year. Oh, you know what? I'm going to suggest you, I didn't have internet when my son was born. Do you know what I had? I had my mom. I had best friends' moms, the ones that I knew well. Little Marcia's mom? Yeah. She helped me hugely. Do you know what she didn't do? She didn't look at an 18-year-old, which I just turned 19 when I had Justin, like 1 month. She didn't look at one of her daughter's good friends, and go, I can't believe that girl got pregnant. She shouldn't have done that. She supported me and answered questions when I needed it. That was my little tribe then, And you need those. You need them. That's just the bottom line. You need grandparents. You don't have to do what they say, but ask them. Ask them, those mamas that you respect. I don't care if they're 54. If they have good kids, and maybe they ask them what they did. I watched one lady on TikTok, and I was like, I try not to judge people, but I had a mother that did everything. And when we got to be older, she had to go to work. And then she realized some of her kids didn't know how to do stuff. And we learned the hard way how to do laundry and dishes and take care of ourselves. And then I messed up. And, if you remember in, I don't know, maybe episode 20, I talked about my son wouldn't even make his own sandwich at 12 because I did it for him. So is that making lazy kids, lazy people in the future? I don't know if it is, but not doing everything for your kid. Mom, you're going to kill yourself. I'm just saying, lady, but if you want to do everything for your kids, do it. Just make sure they know how to do it. Make sure your kids know how to run the washer, how to wash dishes, how to cook, because those are things they're going to need, But all I needed was my kids to be healthy and alive, because at 19, I just didn't want to fucking kill my kid. I didn't want to kill my kid because you didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't want to warp him, which I think I might have warped my kids a little bit, but I didn't want to warp him. And then when I had Emily, I didn't know. I'm 54 and I had those thoughts. Can I love another baby? These are things you go through. I went through those when I had a baby 35 plus years ago. People are going through that today having a baby. You're not different. We might raise our kids different, but we're not different. But I think our whole motive on our kids growing up is I know when my daughter was little, Emily, she doesn't remember this, but at 2 o'clock, she wanted to be Santa Claus. Not Santa Claus, but she wanted to be the white-haired lady with Santa. So she wanted to be Mrs. Claus. She doesn't remember that because I did ask her what she wanted to be when she grew up. And her answer was not a surprise because she went from Barbies, if you remember, to horses. And she had a really good friend, Shayna, and Shayna, she says, wanted to have a horse ranch. Well, Shayna is one badass horse girl. And my daughter, she could be. I'm not saying she's not. But she can draw those horses like, whoa. The artist and my daughter, oh, they would have had a great ranch. It would have been beautiful and perfect. But that's not what she ended up to be. And my son, when he was little, of course, wanted to be Batman. And when he was 2.5, of course, I stayed home and I wasn't watching kids right then. I remember him running around. His name is Justin, and I named him after Justin Boots. Deal with it. I didn't name his middle name Boots because if my dad begged me not to. So, that's okay. I'll listen to Dad. It's not Justin Boots, although I think he was when he was little. But he would wear his boots, his Batman cape that my mom made him, and his whitey tighties, or not whitey tighties, if you know what I mean. I'll change them, But he says he kind of still doesn't really remember anything he wanted to be. And I said, well, you wanted to be Batman. And his response was, well, it's still the truth, because when I was a kid, I wanted to be Batman because he had a cape. And as an adult, I want to be Batman because he has billionaire money. Billionaire. So that makes sense. But you know what? I think most parents can agree. You want your kids to be healthy and alive and living a great life. Let's just all agree on that. And we're going to go because I'm going to go to another. Thinking about this has really been on my mind. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce have been on the news. They are about my son's age. And I see Taylor going, okay, first of all, that girl, she looked like a Barbie. She's up on that stage, she's shining. And I'm like, I know some Swiftie songs, but I'm not a Taylor Swift fan. But I do like some of her songs. And every time I see her, she seems to be, okay, so maybe she's an adult. So she might have had a drink. This girl ain't got no babies with no man. She ain't been married and divorced. She has millions of dollars, making millions of people happy. She even shares that money. She seems to be a really good kid. And then you have Travis. You know what? It's hard for me to say anything positive about his football playing because I'm a Cowboys fan. But even as a Cowboys fan, there are players on other teams that you just know are good people and good players. On every team, you have them. And you can respect the player. Fuck your team, Travis, because I'm a Cowboys fan. But he's a good kid. He ain't got no babies with no other wife. He ain't been divorced. He loves his mama. He loves his mama. He loves his brother. He loves those kids, those nieces. He's just a good kid. If he was my kid, how could you judge him? This is what you want for your kids. Is that NFL player. Hello? Or that star on the stage. But yet I go on to these platforms, TikTok and all of them, and I see girls that have these babies, like, oh my gosh, Taylor Swift is just a whiny ass. And you know what? You jealous much? Because I don't even, now, I might want to be on stage and tell some funny things and stuff. You don't want me on stage singing 100%, if you know what I mean. But if I had a kid that was doing what Travis did or Taylor did, why the fuck would you be upset that they're doing this? I could understand that not letting your kids worship. I mean, that's a whole nother subject. But if you've got someone that is on show that is, doing good, what you'd want your kids to do, why are you going to judge them and go, oh my gosh, she's so whiny. She dates too much. Why did she wear the red lipstick? Oh, what about his ex-girlfriend? You know what? They all have ex-girlfriend and boyfriends. Just end that. You ain't with them, My ex is married. I like his new wife. My kids like his new wife. He likes his new wife. Oh, he better like his new wife. She might take him down if she don't. I'm just saying. Anyway, so why be jealous? If you want your kids to be alive and healthy, why be jealous? If they're on stage doing something you could only hope for your kids to not worry about money. I just pray one day they just keep going, and you guys stop being so judgmental. Let's help those stars out there that need, there's some you need to pray about because they're stuck on drugs, or there's so many people that are doing bad things, and then you're teasing on two that are like, they didn't do nothing. Okay, anyway. I don't know about this recording without alcohol because it can be a little stressful, but sometimes you got to. When I'm driving Mr. Cliff, Shirley can't drink, so you just kind of have to enjoy life on its own. But I'm going to go in and look and see what I have to make a drink, because after this one, I think I need it. So, I think I've told you more than I've known, and hopefully it all made a lot of sense. My shit soapbox. It's mine. Until next time, thank God you're not my child.